drink Lucas at a party. I stepped to her, but I am shy normally. But if you saw her, you would see how I got my heart stole, how I end up in Normandy. Would've gave it all up on the spot. Sure would, told her it could be you and I. She said that's cute, and it sounds true, but I try to be true to mine. Besides, he snaps quick. 2-time MB suicide. You and I screwed, that's it. I'm getting my ass kicked with a shoe Patrick Ewing size. I said, look, I respect the union. Trust me, I ain't trying to ruin y'all. I hope y'all never break up. But check this out, soon as y'all do. You know, like, I ain't trying to, like, you know, come and invade and on what you got going, you know, but I'm here.
Look,
like,
I ain't
for real.
trying to ruin y'all too. I hope y'all never break up. But check this out, soon as y'all do.
You hear me, baby? I'm here. I'll give you all of me. You know what I'm saying? All this love is waiting for you. Holla at me when you get tired of these games, baby. I'm here, baby. I'm here. For real, know that. Feel me. Take me to foreign places. In the mind that's far in places. Getting deep, no, getting deep. Have you on some other shit? How you saying the woman is God on some other shit? Give you some solid facts, instead of jumping on some other shit. Give you history, take you from love and hip hop to Columbus, didn't discover shit. Have you breaking out your shell? Beginning to discover shit about yourself, no, about yourself. Learning to be you without hiding you on a shelf. Show you long as you true to you, you will be beautiful, that is a fact. But I ain't trying to ruin y'all too, I hope y'all never break up. But check soon as y'all do. But like I said, you know, I'm on some cool shit, I'm just sitting back, waiting on you, baby. You know, like, cause I respect the union, you know, I do.
I ain't trying to ruin y'all too. I hope y'all
like, I ain't trying to
break
cause no
up.
trouble, you know what I'm saying, but,
you know.
But baby, I'm here, you understand? I just want you to know that it's nothing I wouldn't do, no place I wouldn't take you to. I'm trying to be with you, alright? I know you tired of these games, I know you're not happy. I just want you to understand, baby, I am here, I'm ready. As soon as y'all do.
What's up, family? I know y'all was expecting Kevin, but I fooled you. It's me. All right, so we gonna get this thing started, man. We coming with a Saturday edition of the Truth Factory, okay? Kevin might be in the chat if it's not too late, but it is Ricky Swink, begging for change. Most of you are familiar with me. If not, just make a quick introduction. Download The Rapture, available now on bdevolution.org. I gave you a sample of the song As Soon As Y'all Do. I know y'all was feeling that because, man, that's a hit. This album is a hit. If you don't have it already, please go support the brother. bdevolution.org. The album is available for download right now. So we got this Saturday edition of the True Factory. We will be on tomorrow again, probably sometime around noon. But we'll put the time out. We're gonna do the show a little bit earlier tomorrow on Sunday, but we have this Saturday edition. I just wanted to come to you because we got to talk about something real important tonight. Something that, you know, we're gonna start this new year off right. We're gonna start it out on the right path. So what I want to talk about tonight is I want to talk about insurance. Okay. It's going to be a Q&A. I'm going to pay attention to the chat. We're going to dig into the chat. If you have any insurance questions, whether it be property insurance. Now, I'm not an expert on life insurance, but I do know a little bit about it, final expenses. But my expertise is going to be property insurance, homeowners, auto, any type of insurance like that. I'm going to give you some information, some pointers on what to look out for with the insurance. Okay. All right. So, hey, if somebody in the chat can just confirm if the audio is good because I know we be having these audio issues. So if everybody can hear me loud and clear, just give me a thumbs up in the chat so I can make sure that the audio is good before I kind of get too far into this. Okay. All right. So Eureka talking about insurance is another big fraud. Okay. Hey, we can talk about some of those things. So if you feel it is a fraud, I mean, that's good. But what I'm going to do is, because I deal with this on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to give you some information to where you can maybe save you some money. Also, just answer any questions that you may have. That way that you can understand your policy a little bit better, and just kind of plant some seeds for us to kind of do some things differently as we go forward. Okay, so that's going to be the basis of this show. Everyone is insured, so we got to make sure that you're insured and that you're insured properly, and that you understand your insurance policy so that you benefit from it when that time comes. So don't wait for something to happen for you to dig out that policy and start reading it over to see if something's covered. You should know what you're covered for, and you should know what you're paying for. So if anyone has any questions, I will be taking any questions from the chat, and I will be addressing those. If I don't know, I'm just going to tell you I don't know, because insurance is going to be different state by state. So I'm just going to be going into some of the basic fundamental things. Now, I know a little bit about what other states do. I'm in Arizona, but because I deal with insurance all over the country, I kind of know a little bit about all the policies and what they cover. So if you have any questions, I should be able to answer those pretty easily. But I'm gonna kind of go through some things that I kind of already set up to speak with you about. Things that I know people have questions on and they may not be sure about. So we're going to talk about that. And then we are also going to talk about like what makes sense. Okay. So when you're talking about your final expenses, you're talking about wills, because we're going to talk about estate planning, because I know a lot of us, we may pass away. Well, we haven't passed away yet. We're still here, but we have family members who pass away and they didn't take the little bit of time that it takes to just set up a will. Okay. So wills are not complicated to set up. If you don't have a lot of property, and if your will is not very complex, and you don't have property being dispersed kind of like all over the place, even if you did, it doesn't take a lot of time. You could do it within a few hours. If you don't have a lot of assets and you don't have a lot of property, it takes even less time than that. So there's no way we should be dying or passing away without a will. Some of us say, well, I don't have anything to leave behind. Some of us have children, and a lot of you don't really, maybe not, you may not know this, but your will, if you don't have it in your will where your children are going to go, then it's going to be up to the courts to decide, the next of kin. When you die without a will, it's called dying intestate. Okay. So they're going to go through the intestate succession and see who your children are going to go to. Now, someone may say, Rick, they're going to go to the father, they're going to go to the mother. But what if you have a cool relationship with your co-parent, and y'all together, and both of you pass away, but the children survive? And now who are your children going to go to? If that's not in your will, someone is going to decide where your children go. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some other things. So just give me a moment to set some things up, because I need to do some little technical things over here, because we getting technical. All right. So let me get the chat over here on YouTube, and then I got my Facebook chat over here. So that way we can make sure we address any questions that may be coming through. We do appreciate your time. I know it's a Saturday, and I didn't even know it was a college football game on tonight, but I was on the internet and I saw the news. I guess there's a football game going right now. I just totally stopped watching football. I don't watch it anymore, and I'm going to probably talk about that a little bit tonight. But let me just say hello to some people, man. We got Lee Shun in the house over here. Let me. I'm gonna get my YouTube people first, okay? Give me a moment. Share the video, because it's gonna be a lot of useful information, man. We want to talk about this. We want to make, man. You guys are gonna be some insurance professionals by the time I'm done with you tonight, okay? So share the video, share it to your platform, share it to your page, and we're gonna have this conversation. All right, so I'm going to take a moment to share this video, send it out to a few people, let them know that we are live, okay? And while I'm sharing this video, make sure you go to bdevolution.org and download that Rapture, man. That thing is hot. And I'm not just saying that because me and Kevin we friends, man. But that boy put some good work in on that album. So I'm gonna share this video real quick. All right, y'all just look at my big old head. All right, let me share this thing. All right. Let me see what we got. Who we got over here on YouTube, man? All right, so share it. All right, so we got a nice little audience going here. Let me see who we got over here on YouTube. Let me just say hello to some people. All right, Alaric, how you doing? I am Africa, man. We got some new people in here tonight. These ain't the same people from Sunday. Bird the third. What's going on, man? Why people? Why? All right, we got Shundell, Raymar, Arthur. All right, let me see. All right. We got Nathaniel, Enlightened One, Deanna. Hey, how you doing? All right, we got Jess. We got Jess King Productions. Okay, I hope I said that right. What's going on, Vicky? How you doing? Peace Queen. How you doing? All right, so we got Miss Igbo vibes. I think that's what that is. Okay, so let's see, Lamarcus. All right, so I think we got everybody on YouTube. Let me talk to my Facebook people here real quick. Hi, Nikki, Vanessa, how you doing? Queen, what's going on? Nebraska, Wade. All right, so thank you guys for confirming that the audio is good. Okay, all right. So we got Eureka in the building. I mentioned her earlier. Ples, how you doing? Oh, I'm about to kill your name, Aliko. Okay, I hope I got that right. Let's see, man, DeKeish. How you doing, Garland? Mr. and Mrs. Valerie in the building, as always. Okay, Joshua, Grover. All right, we got, Bailey. How you, I'm about to kill your name. I ain't even going to try that one. Okay, all right. All right, so I think it's Femi, okay. Let's see. All right. Boy, y'all know I can't read, man, these names. Okay, all right, King, what's going on? Vernon. All right. So let me see who else we got in here. All right. Angie. Okay. If I missed anybody, I can't see, I can't read. All right, we got L, we got Willie. Okay, all right, so we're gonna get into this conversation. Y'all know I gotta get real close to the computer. I can't see. All right, so let me send this out to one more person who wanted to know when I go live tonight. So, all right, let me just do this real quick, and then we're gonna get into this conversation. Man, if y'all can think of any questions before I get started, please let me know, and so we can get these questions in here. Or maybe not, because it's gonna go past and I ain't gonna be able to see it. But all right, let me get this link real quick. All right, we thank you for your time and we thank you for your energy again. Okay, if I didn't mention it already. Well, we thank you for your time. Okay, man, I'm on the big speaker. Okay, so thank you for your Kevin's in the building. Okay, all right, so man, if you. What you talking about, Kevin? You talking about the album? All right, man. If y'all haven't downloaded that album, man, y'all need to get that, man, because that thing is all that. All right. So we're gonna copy the link right here. Send this out. People getting to know. All right, so we good. We're gonna get off of that. All right, so we're gonna get into it. Let me just check the chat. Exactly. We're gonna have been talking about this for years. Check your policy, okay, LaMarcus. That's right. What you do? You in insurance, LaMarcus? You sound like an insurance professional, man. You tell, okay, please get life insurance. Okay, your responsibility. Yes. We're gonna talk about it. Okay, so I think kind of where I want to start. I got some notes here because I just want to make sure this thing kind of flows. Okay, so this is where we are. Okay, so. Before I even get into the whole insurance game and the whole insurance industry, what I want to talk about is, as the new year approaches, I know we make New Year's resolutions and we look for things to improve and how we can improve and how we can change. Okay, so, but what I want to kind of just plant the seed is, are we changing or are we transforming? Okay, and you're like, well, Rick, that's the same thing, isn't it? It sounds like the same thing. But when I talk about transforming, I'm talking about like being a transformer, like a Decepticon, so to speak. So when you transform, you can be Bumblebee 1 minute, and you can be a Volkswagen Beetle the next minute. Okay, so you can be a semi truck 1 minute, and you can be Optimus Prime the next minute. So are you really changing? Are you really evolving? Or are you transforming? Okay, you you transform, then you one person 1 minute, then you're another person the next minute. And I know sometimes we gotta play the game, we gotta play certain roles. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in terms of who you are. Have you evolved? And this is what I want to kind of go into, because in thinking about this, I'm thinking about like the motivational speaker. Okay, some of these motivational speakers, they tell you, that they get up at 3 a.m. Okay, that's fine. You get up at 3 a.m. But what time you go to bed? Okay, because they never tell you what time they go to bed. Anybody can get up at 3 a.m. if you go to bed early enough. Okay, so you're already working hard. You're already doing, a lot of us are already doing everything that we can do to make it in this country, to advance our lives, to advance our situation. So my whole point with this is, don't let someone tell you that you're not doing enough, because sometimes you're doing more than enough. You're working 2 jobs, you're working double shifts, you're working, but you're not making enough money, because some of these companies and some of these corporations, the higher ups are getting all of the money. They're doing none of the work, but they're doing like probably a fraction of the work that you're doing. They're out at the golf course. They're, just living their best life, making all the money. You are doing all the work, working all the hours, overtime, double shifts, 7 days a week. Man, it's been times I worked 7 days a week, no days off, like for months and months at a time. So, and I know there's other people that do the same thing. They get 4 hours of sleep a day because they go from one job to the next. So my whole thing is, like, sometimes we listen to these things, okay? And we listen to people and they tell us, you're not doing enough. Okay, so my whole point with this is evolution. Okay, we have to have an evolutionary mindset. I know we talk about revolution a lot. We do, you revolution, ready to change things, ready to, change the game. But I'm talking about an evolutionary mindset, not just for you and not just for me, but for everyone. Everyone's mind has to evolve. And that's why this BD Evolution family, the Lighthouse family, we are changing the way people think. We are changing the way society thinks. Because when a motivational speaker tells you that he gets up at 3 a.m., but he doesn't tell you what time he goes to bed. So you're already working hard, okay? But this is the thing that the motivational speaker does to you. He tries to suck you in to capitalism, okay? Because he's telling you how much he's getting paid. He's telling you that he's making, $50,000 per appearance. He's making $100,000 per appearance in an hour or 2 hours of work, okay? Making you feel like you're not working hard enough, making you feel like that you're not doing enough to make it in this society, okay? But then on the flip side, and this is the lack of evolution, and this is how this person shows you that they haven't evolved yet, okay? This is how this person tells you that they're still stuck in this mind frame of capitalism, okay? Because they tell you that they shop at the best stores. They have high end. They go to Louis Vuitton and Gucci, okay? Because it's of a higher quality. They Rolls Royce don't have any commercials, okay? They're pushing you towards capitalism, okay? Because they haven't evolved, okay? Go to the healthcare industry. This is the motivational speaker shouldn't be talking to you, okay? And this is where he shows the lack of his evolution, okay? Because he's talking to football players about playing football. He's motivating football players to be better athletes, okay? He's motivating football players to push themselves to train and to be better on the football field, to break each other up. But he hasn't evolved to the point to get you to say, should we even be playing football? And I know a lot of you don't want to hear this. And this is where evolution comes in at, okay? I know a lot of you don't want to hear, because you love your Cowboys and you love all of these things that we absolutely do not need. And I'm going to tie all of this in together, okay? All right? So the motivational speaker, instead of talking to you, he needs to be talking to the healthcare industry to say, look, can you lower the cost of these medical procedures? He needs to be talking to the corporate people that brings him in to talk to you to get more productivity out of you. He needs to be talking to them that says, you know what? Maybe we should pay the people at the bottom a little bit more so that they can have a higher quality of life. Okay, so that they don't have to work so hard. Okay, so that they can come to work with a smile on their face, happy to do their job, so that you'll get more productivity out of them. Okay, so, but he doesn't do that. He's talking to you. Okay, and again, I'm going to show you a lack of his evolution. Okay, all right, so he should go to the government and says, look, clean up your mess. Okay, somebody should give a motivational speech to this make-believe God and says, clean up your mess. Why do you have to clean up the world when the government messed it up? Why do you have to clean up the world when this make-believe God, who we know doesn't exist, messed it up? Why you got to clean up his mess? Okay, so again, talking about the motivational speaker going in to talk to people about sports. Okay, we're going to talk about insurance here in a moment, but you have these companies and you have these corporations who will pay hundreds of millions of dollars to put their names on some of these sports stadiums, to put their names on some of these sports arenas. When you could have took that $300 million and you could have changed a lot of lives. You could have lowered someone's insurance premium. Okay, so we're gonna talk about those things. But my whole thing is, if you're gonna evolve. Okay, sometimes evolution allows you to adapt to your environment for survival. But we're not in survival. Sometimes we've survived and we're out of survival mode, and it's time to go to the next level. Okay, if you're really about evolution, are you ready to evolve? Okay, that's the question that we all have to ask ourselves. Are we ready for evolution? Are we really willing to do what it takes to evolve? And I'm not just talking about the people at the bottom. I'm talking about the people at the top. I'm talking to, the people who have all of the power. I'm talking about the people who have all of the money. It can't just be one or two. Okay, one person says, you know what, this is not right. We need to change this. But there's 100 other people just like, maybe they should do a little bit more. Maybe they should work a little harder and their life will change. Okay, we know that's just not logical for everyone. So I'm gonna get off that. But before we go any further, okay, I know I did this on one of my other live streams. I'm gonna do it again. We got this Auburn jersey right here. I used to love the Auburn Tigers. I'm done with football. I don't watch it. I don't endorse it. I just think we should absolutely do away with it. We spend so much money building stadiums, and when there's people a mile away who's living on the street, okay? There's people a mile away that needs food to eat, okay? So no more for me. No more Iron Bowls for me. I don't care who wins the Iron Bowl. That's not gonna change my life. I seen Cam Newton take Auburn to the national championship. It was a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful year. But you know what? After that game was over, my life didn't change any. Okay? So we have to be really willing to give up some of the things that we love that really doesn't add anything at all to our lives. And we have to be, are you willing to evolve? So just take that question. Are you willing to die and resurrect? Because we're going to get into this book here in just a moment along with the insurance. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. Okay, and I'm kind of go into the chat, man. Ooh, what's going on, man? Let me see what's going on in the chat over here on YouTube. All right, so it's like Kevin just talking to a lot of people. Okay, all right. Okay, so I know, football is a real big thing for us, but you gotta understand, like, we give our kids over to play football. And we don't really care about anybody else that gets hurt playing football. There's a lot of players who die playing this sport. There's a lot of children that die playing this sport. There's a lot of serious injuries, spinal cord injuries, broken bones, of course, ACL injuries. But we are not really concerned about that. As long as it's not our child hurt, we don't really care about everybody else. And it's kind of funny to me that in this society that's backwards, okay, and it's going to take people who think like we do, people with that evolutionary mindset to change society and to change this world. It's funny to me how we can fight animals. Okay, I'm sorry. It's funny how we can fight human beings. And we can teach our children to box and MMA from when they're a child up, okay? But we can't fight dogs. We can't fight animals. You know, we can fight human beings, but we can't fight animals, okay? And that should just kind of turn on the light bulb to kind of get you to think about how backwards our society really is. So I'm gonna close that out, fam, and then we're gonna get into this whole insurance thing. So let's talk a little bit about final expenses, and let's talk a little bit about wills and estate planning. Okay, so I'm gonna start there first, and then I'm gonna get into the whole homeowners thing. Okay, all right. So final expenses. Okay, so I know some of us. A couple weeks ago, I was talking to my mother about a final expenses policy. Okay, and she told me she didn't have time. Okay, she said I don't have time. Okay, and she hung up the phone on me. Okay, and I'm just thinking in my mind, like, when you gonna have time when you dead? Okay, because you didn't have time for me when I was born. You didn't have time for me when I was in foster care. You never had time for me. So when are you ever going to have time? So it just made me think about, okay, we as parents have to make sure, even if if you had parents who didn't put you in a good situation, there's one or two things that can happen. You can repeat that cycle, or you can learn from it and make sure that your children are in a much better situation. So as a parent, I know we bring our children into the world, and I know, Kevin says, look, you had to get here somehow. You kicked the door down, and that's a great perspective to look at things from. But also in parenting, I don't let parents who don't take care of their children, who don't evolve, okay, off the hook, okay? So my mother told me she didn't have time for me, and I said, look, okay, well, when you pass away, and it come and that responsibility falls in my lap, I'm not gonna, and it's not me trying to get back at her, but I'm not gonna have time for you. Okay, I'm gonna cremate you, and I'm gonna tell the dude at the crematory to turn it up extra hot. I'm like, turn it up extra hot. Put that thing on broil. You understand? Like, I'm just that's gonna be it. Okay, I don't care what your will says, what your final thing says. You getting cremated because you ain't got no money. Okay, so. But this is the thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about wills. Okay, so if there's no will, there's no deal. And before I get into the whole will thing, I just want to point out something. While I was thinking about this, while I was thinking about estate planning, I'm thinking about testaments, I'm thinking about wills. It made me think of something in the Bible. Okay, because over in Hebrews, okay. And what is it? In the 9th chapter, okay, in Hebrews, okay. So you know the Bible. You have the Old and the New Testament, okay. So the Old and the New Testament. The New Testament is supposed to be what's in effect right now. People be like, well, we're not under the Old Testament. We're under the New Testament. And this is what I'm talking about thinking, man. When you start thinking, man, your mind just opens up. Okay. All right. So a testament is just another way of saying will. Okay. I got my last will and testament right here. It says last will and testament of Ricky Swink. Okay, so this is my will right here. So your will is just a testament. Okay, so but this will doesn't go into effect until I die. This will is nothing but paper while I'm still alive. So I'm about to kill Christianity right now. Okay, Christianity is dead right now. Okay, I'm about to kill it right now. Okay, so the New Testament is in effect, right? Because that's what Christians say they're under. Okay, so Christ is the mediator of the New Testament. Okay, so I'm gonna read something for you real quick. Okay, it says, and for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promises of eternal inheritance. Okay, this is what Christians go by. It says, for where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. Okay, 17 is just going to wrap it up. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Okay, it says, otherwise it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. So if you ask a Christian, is Jesus alive? And they'll be like, yeah, Jesus lives. I'm like, well, there ain't no New Testament then. Because the New Testament cannot be in effect if the testator is alive. The testament only is in effect when the testator is dead. Okay, let me read it to you again, because it says otherwise it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. So their own book kills their religion. Okay, because if Jesus Christ, because if you die right now, something happened to you and you go to the hospital, okay, and you flatline, and they pronounce you dead, and they be like, oh, Rick's dead, he flatlined, call it. What time is it? It's 6:44, he's dead, okay, and then all of a sudden I get a post. It'd be like the little machine go beep. They're like, oh, he's still alive. They do a little CPR and resuscitate me. Okay, I can't go to my insurance company and be like, yo, they pronounced me dead at 6:44. I died. So pay out. They're not gonna pay out that policy. They're gonna be like, dude, you are alive. You're still alive. We're not paying you no money. So what I'm telling you is this whole religion is done. If Jesus lives, Christianity is dead. Okay? And he gotta live for the religion to even be there. So I'm just saying, man, like, it doesn't make sense. I don't care how you put it. It never makes sense, okay? Time and time again. But Christianity is dead. We just killed it. Okay, so now let's talk about wills. Okay, this is the importance of you having a will. Okay? Doesn't take an attorney to write up a will. Okay, you have something that they call a holographic will, which means that you just have it written out on paper. Okay, all you need to do is just write it out. You can hand write it out if you want to, but it's free. You can go online. I think it's the website is eForms. You can go to eForms for any state, and you just type in your information. You type in your name, address, who's gonna be the executor of your will, basically who's gonna handle everything after you die. You just name these people, put in there what you're giving who, and instructions on what to do with your body, or any type of special instructions are going to be included in the will. Print it out, take it somewhere, get it notarized, boom, put it in a safe place, you're done. Okay? Now, there's other things that go into account with that. That go in coordinates with that. Like a trust or something like that. Now that takes some legal planning. If you're gonna develop a trust, a land trust, or whatever type of trust that you may have that your assets are gonna go into. Okay, if you have a rental property and you don't want to sell that, of course that goes into a trust. That's gonna take a little more doing if you're gonna do that. Okay, so to continue your will. Okay, one important thing to address with your will is what's gonna happen in your final moment, okay, with your funeral, okay, because I know a lot of us, we don't want to be buried or have some type of funeral in the church. I know a lot of you remember Aretha Franklin said she died without a will. They did a lot of things that they say that she wouldn't have been happy with, had somebody preaching her funeral that she didn't even like. Okay, so and this might happen to you if you die without a will. I talked to a couple of people this week and I gave this example. I said, look, what if you have, like, you and your child's mother, or, y'all have a good relationship and y'all go out with the child, y'all do things together, y'all not in a relationship, but let's say y'all driving, you get into a car accident, she dies, you die. So now, and your kid survives. Now your kid has no parents and you don't have a will to say who's going to take care of your child. Now it's up to the courts. Your child could end up with someone that you don't even like. Your child could end up with someone that doesn't even like you, just so they can get some of your money to take care of your child and treat your child bad. And this could happen to your child if you die intestate, if you die without a will, just because you think you don't have any property to pass on. But let's continue, okay? In my will, it states I just want to be cremated, no embalming, don't view my body, don't do none of that, because the funeral home is there to make money and they will take advantage of you, okay? When you're talking about a funeral, and you talking about putting a dead body in the ground, you got to buy a plot of land. You got to buy a vault. You got to buy a casket. They got to dress you. You got to be embalmed if somebody going to view your body. All of this stuff, and all of it costs money. That cash register is just like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You know what I'm saying? With every little thing that they do for you in this funeral procession. Okay, so again, like I used to mystery shop for funeral homes. So I used to call funeral homes, act like somebody in my family died. I used to ask all kind of questions about how much it costs, how much this costs. So I know this to be a fact. Okay. The funeral home is not going to be moral, and they're not going to say, you know what, you don't have any money. And a lot of us, we are broke. Okay. A lot of us, we don't have any money, and the funeral home is not going to be moral, and they're not going to be look out for you. They're not going to say, you know what, you don't have any money. The best, most cost-effective way for you to deal with this situation is just to cremate this person. Okay, you can have a memorial, put a picture up there, talk about them, remember them, whatever. But to go around and view somebody, my sister passed away 2009, and that body in that casket absolutely did not look like her. I wish I could have not seen that body, because I don't know who that was in that casket, but it looked nothing like my sister. I wish I wouldn't have seen it, but that's the image that has been seared into my mind, and that's my memory of her, how she looked in that casket, and that didn't look anything like my sister. It could have just been a total stranger. I'm like, who is that? They don't look like my sister. Okay, all that makeup and all, just it was horrible. Okay, but this, sometimes they make it look good. Sometimes you get one, and depending on how your family member died, they can make it look just like them, and it looks like that, you know, they're asleep. But man, sometimes it's gruesome, and the funeral home is just like, you know what, they don't even look like her. We can't fix it. You know, maybe you should just have a closed casket. But no, they let you be mortified from remembering your family member in this type of state. Okay, so but all of these things should be listed in your will. Again, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Okay, you may have to pay a notary, but you may know a notary that can notarize your will for free. So while we're running around here with no will, they teach you about this testament in the Bible. Okay, religion, and from the time you're a child, you learn about this testament of this Jesus character who no one can prove ever existed. You learn about that testament. You learn about that will, but your mom don't have a will. Your dad don't have a will. No one in your family has a will, and they don't talk about these things. So it takes me or somebody like me who not in religion to tell you need to get a will. Okay, so it just kind of goes to show, if I had a church, if I owned a church, everybody in there would have life insurance. Everybody would have a will. You would have everything that you need. But that's what this BD evolution is. Evolve. Be different. Make some changes. Don't keep repeating the same things that your parents did. Okay? So, you know, your parents didn't raise you right. In my case, my parents didn't raise me right. But if I died today, my mother would be like, "Oh, my son," crying. I'd be like, "Shut up. Stop crying. You didn't care about me when I was alive. You didn't take care of me. You didn't make sure I was good while I was here. Stop that fake crying." Okay? Stop that fake. Don't cry for me. Don't you even shed a tear. Because you didn't do anything for me when I was here, and now you want to be extra stupid when I'm dead. Okay, now you want to spend all this money. I saw a family today while I was driving in my car, taking up money on the side of the road for a funeral for their family member because they're ill prepared. But I bet you they know Jesus. I bet you they do. Okay, so I'm going to try not to get too hyped, but we're going to continue. All right. Okay, so life insurance. Let me go in here, man. I'm sorry, man. Let me see if we got some questions, because I'm just going off. Let me see what we got. That's right, Lee Sean. Christianity dead. If Jesus is alive, it's dead. We don't need to talk about it no more. Case closed. Case closed. All right, let me see what we got any questions in here. Insurance is big business. It is, Eureka. It is big business. It is big business. It is. I'm not even saying that it's not, and that's why I'm here. Okay, because I'm an insurance agent. I get my company audit me all the time because I'm saving people money. I'm knocking $500, $600, $800 off of people's policy. I'm saving them money. I'm like, I look at, because I can look at it and I can be like, okay, you need to change this, you need to change this, you need to change this. Boom, knock $500 off your annual premium. My company, they audit me, but see, the thing is about me, when I do something, I put that documentation in there with that logic and that reasoning why I did what I did, because they're not used to me. Okay, because I'm different. I have an evolutionary mindset. Okay, I'm gonna save you some money. I'm not gonna do it illegally. I'm not gonna be immoral, but I can see where somebody didn't tell you something, or I can see somebody didn't do something for you or educate you in the right way, and I'll give you that information, and I ask the right type of questions so that you can tell me what your situation is, so that you're not overinsured, that you're properly insured to what you have, and not because some agent sold you a policy and you didn't question it and now he making commission off of you. That's not what we do. So I knock money off of people's policies all the time. My company, they audit me like, Rick, you did this, Rick, but when they look at the documentation, they can't say anything because what I did was correct. Okay, so, but yeah, it is big business. These insurance companies have major money, okay? But that's why I'm here to help. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Trey, man, we on today, man. We just doing a little quick show about insurance and about some other things, man. So let's talk about life insurance, okay, real quick. Okay. Life insurance, when they tell you to make sure you are doing right, and you're making good decisions about your life and about your health and, about some of the things, making sure you stay in control of everything. They should be teaching you that for life insurance and not for anything else, okay? Who cares about being righteous for some make-believe God? You should be trying to be righteous so your life insurance premium is not sky high or not unaffordable for you, okay? A lot of times now with these life insurance policies, I know people have policies with their jobs, okay, with their employers, but you have to take into consideration that, like, if you ever leave that company, you're going to have to pay out of pocket for that policy. So you may want to check with your company, if you do have life insurance through them, that if you leave, how much is this policy going to cost you? What are the stipulations of the policy? How is it going to pay out? Okay. The best policy right now that I can recommend, and again, I'm not an expert in life and health. I am going to get a life and health license here pretty soon, but you got whole life, you got term life, you got permanent life, you got annuities, you got all of these different aspects of life insurance, and everybody, has their own thing of what they think is better. Of course, whole life is kind of like a cash policy where you put money in, it's accumulating. You can borrow against it, okay? Term life is just like, you're going to say the next 20 years, I'm going to pay $50 a month. And if something happens to me, the company is going to pay out this amount of money, okay? One important thing that I can point out with life insurance that you absolutely need to know is what is covered under that policy. Like if you die, because my policy specifically, you have certain policies, they have a face value. Let me give you an example. One may say $175,000 and then $75,000 for accidental death. Okay, so they're gonna pay out $75,000 if you die accidentally, but they're only gonna pay $175,000 if you die. It's an all cause of death type of situation. Okay, so you die from like natural causes or something like that. Okay, so. All cause of death or some, and then even with an all cause of death policy, some policies have it to where they still have exclusions like suicide. Like even though it's an all cause of death policy and it's going to pay out for any cause of death, they do have exclusions. They say, yeah, if you die at war, if you die while committing a felony, if you die from suicide, they not going to pay out anything. And so this is what's important for you to know what your policy pays out, because us, and a lot of people have experienced this, they will try to say you committed suicide or your death was suspicious or some type of verbiage to where when the insurance company gets that final information on you, they're like, they can contest it. They can be like, you know what, we're not paying out because, this looked like a suicide. Okay. So that's why it's important. the life insurance policy that I have, it says in there, even if I kill myself, I'm getting paid. Okay, the entire policy, the whole $400,000, okay, is going to my son. I'm getting paid. So you want to make sure that you have that type of policy. Now, those types of policies are going to be a little more expensive. Okay, so you just want to make sure that if you can't afford it, and I know, man, things are tight, and a lot of us, we struggle with money. So that type of policy, all cause of death, is going to pay out the entire amount of the policy. Those are a little more expensive, okay? And if you can't afford that, something is better than nothing, okay? If you got to get the little $30 a month policy until you can find something better, you rather have that little $30 a month, $150,000, $200,000 policy to cover you, as opposed to just not having any coverage at all, okay? And another thing with the will, okay? We also have to consider what is going to be passed down to our heirs, okay? If you have an auto loan, is your estate going to pay off your auto loan on your car? So let's say you got a couple $1,000s left to own this car. You still making payments. You die, $2,000 is going to pay off that car, and it's going to belong to your heir, okay? But because you haven't put it in your will, and your executor, or you don't have a will, and your payments fall behind, you think the car loan place or your lender is going to be like, oh, we haven't received. They just going to think that you haven't paid. So they're going to repo the car or put it, up for repossession because you don't have anybody handling your affairs, or you haven't had these conversations with your family. Now your car that's almost paid off is getting repoed. Okay, and it's getting sold to someone else. Same thing with your home. Is your estate going to pay off the remainder of your mortgage if you have a mortgage? So these are conversations that you need to be having with your mortgage company, okay? Ask them, hey, if I die, my son is going to take over the house. Like, what does he need to do? Do I need to add his name here in case something happens to me, so that he can call in and you can work out some type of payoff for my mortgage? So these are conversations that we need to have, and these are things that we need to know moving forward. Okay, so let me go in. Let me see here. All right, so we touched on again. Okay, so that's what the estate planning in regards to your life insurance. Your life insurance policy can also be like a final expenses policy, to where it will pay for your funeral if you gotta have one. I mean, I'm being cremated. I had a conversation with my brother earlier. He said he want to be like planted in the ground, so that his energy can decompose, and the organisms or the environment can reuse his body, to grow a tree or plants or whatever, can use his body as food. And I think a lot of people are getting into that, okay? But all of these things have to be in your will. You just can't leave it and say, yo, bro, you just can't tell your buddy to handle things for you, because if you die intestate, I'm telling you, they're going to go through the intestate succession, and whoever's next on that list, that is who they're going to give it to handle your business, okay? So, and then also, that's who they're going to pass down your property to. So you got to have that will. It's just too simple to make a will for you to die without one, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into insurance, unless somebody has some questions about life insurance or something that I didn't go over. Let's see. Let me just kind of go back in the chat. All right. Yeah, man, this is the Truth Factory, man. We're talking about the truth. So we actually gonna go. Give me a moment, man. My Facebook stream went down, so I got to get this back up so I can make sure I know what's going on in the chat. All right, so give me a moment to get my chat back up. If anybody has any questions, please put those in the comment section. Also, we're gonna keep reiterating over and over again. Please go download the Rapture. It is available on bdevolution.org. Y'all gonna get tired of me saying that throughout this stream, but man, it's good music. All right. Let's see. You didn't comment on my pen. Okay. On the Word Testament. Okay. I don't know. King, I guess you had a question about the word testament. It just means will. I don't know what your question would be about the word testament. Okay, well, yeah, covenant, testament, will. They're all synonymous words, man. So, I mean, yeah, it's a covenant. I mean, if you want to talk about the Bible, I mean, Old and New Testament, Old Covenant, Old will, New will. It explains it in the Bible that the testament is a will. Even with Moses, he had to, kill an animal and sprinkle blood on the people. Man, I read the whole book, bro. So, um, it's the same covenant testament. God said He gonna write it in your heart, but you still need a preacher to tell you what it says or what it means. So just a bunch of nonsense, bro. I mean, you are God, okay? All right. So again, let me go back into. So we covered wills, unless anybody has any questions, and now let's get into homeowners insurance, and we can address that. A brother reached out to me about a couple weeks ago. And he was like, Rick, you did a video on insurance, but you didn't really touch on homeowners insurance, because I know I did touch on renters, and I was just making the point that even if you don't own a home, let's say you rent a home, right? It's still important for you to have renters insurance, because one, it's going to give you, may not be a huge discount, but it's going to give you a small discount on your auto policy if you have both policies with the same insurance carrier, okay? Also, what it does is, it covers your personal property. So if the house burns down, you lose all your stuff. That little $10 a month, however much you pay, $15 a month or whatever, renter's policy is going to cover your personal belongings, okay? Not only that, if you have to temporarily move out of your place, okay, loss of use, coverage D is going to cover you for a temporary living space. It also has a coverage E, which is personal liability. Okay, usually minimum $100,000 all the way up to $1 million is going to cover you if anything happens, whether it be at your home or this coverage follows you. It doesn't just apply to your premises. A lot of people think that coverage E on your insurance policy covers you for personal liability, anything that you may be liable for that would happen in your home, on your property, but it also covers you as you go out in society and in the community, and someone may sue you, or you may damage someone's property and you may be responsible for it. That's going to be covered under your homeowner's policy. And a lot of people don't know that. They just think that that coverage just stays at their residence or at their premises, but it actually doesn't. It actually follows you. Okay. So those are some of the things I touched on in the first video, but I want to kind of just break down homeowners insurance. Okay. A homeowner's policy, if you do own a home, most of these policies are called, they're basically just called home policies, where there be a special form or where there be some type of broad form, okay? And again, the only difference between those two, one is going to have things that are covered that are named. They're called named perils, and a peril is just damage by the weather, wind, storms. Those are perils. So you're going to have a policy that's going to have these things itemized on the policy, and nothing else is covered unless it's named. Okay, so these are named perils. Okay, you also have a policy that has that says open perils. So if it says open perils, that means everything is covered unless it specifically says in your policy that this particular thing right here is excluded. Okay, so let me kind of go into my chat here, man, and see what questions we have. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna break down the different levels of coverage. Okay, so we got coverage A, which is the dwelling coverage. Okay, so under coverage A is gonna be the dwelling. Now this is gonna be the amount that is going to be allotted to you in order to rebuild your home. Okay, it's rebuild value, it's replacement value, it's not market value. So your house may be worth $500,000, and on your insurance policy, and a lot of us may already know this, but I'm gonna kind of just go over the basics, okay? Coverage A may have $350,000, so it may cost $350,000 to totally rebuild your home, but the market value of your home may be $500,000. You're not insuring for market value, you're insuring to rebuild or to replace your home. Now, this is something that I got to point out with coverage A. Some insurance companies, what they'll do is, and you got to be careful about this, they will allow you to be insured maybe 80% of what your value is. You want to be with an insurance company that wants you to be insured 100% the value. And then also what they'll do is they'll give you a little bit over. Okay, some give you 30% over, and then some give you like 50%. Okay, so if you got a home, if you get 50% and you got replacement coverage A is 500,000. Okay, they're gonna give you 750,000 in coverage. Okay, and they usually throw that in there for free. So if you with a good company, a solid company, they're probably gonna give you 30 to 50% over what's included in your coverage A. Okay, and again, that's to rebuild your home. It's not for market value. Okay. And then also you would just want to be careful. Like if you do have a mortgage, your mortgage company is just going to make sure that you're insured up to 100% of value. If you have a mortgage on your home, they're usually not going to let you fall below that. So if you do have a mortgage, you're probably pretty good there. Okay. But if you do make some type of addition to your home, like if you add solar panels, or if you add a pool or some type of deck or something like that, that adds value to the home, you want to make sure you address that with the insurance company so they can update your information so that it coincides with what is actually on your property. Okay. Coverage B is other structures. Now these are going to be walls walls or fences, any type of landscaping that you may have. If you have a detached garage, or if you have a shed on your property, this is where other structures is going to come into play. And this is usually going to be about 10% of your coverage A. So whatever coverage A is, other structures is going to be 10% of that. Your coverage C is your personal property, everything that's in your home, everything that you own. Of course, not automobiles, any type of motor vehicles is not going to be included in that. Again, this is an important thing that I'm going to point out here with coverage C, personal property, that a lot of people don't realize. Okay. Usually it's 50% with most insurance companies, okay? But this is what they'll do. They'll bump it up to 75%. But this is what they'll also do. They'll charge you for that additional 25%. And this is what they do. They say, look, we're giving you the additional 25% because we're going to replace your things with no depreciation, okay? And what it is they're saying, hey, we're going to not do depreciation. We're not going to give you actual cash value, or what they call ACW, for your property. We're going to give you replacement cost. So if you got a 60-inch screen television and it costs $500 to replace it, that's what they're going to give you. They're going to give you $500, as opposed to taking that television that says, look, that TV was built in 2016. It's got 2 years of depreciation. You pay $700 for it. So 2 years of depreciation is this much. We're going to cut you a check for $420, okay? But this is my thing. You have to look at your belongings, because usually 50% of your coverage A is way more than what you need for personal property. So you want to go around your home and you want to say, okay, if I lost everything in my bedroom, it'll probably cost $10,000 to replace that. My clothes is cheap, man. I'm just basic dude, man. So I don't have no Gucci. I don't have no Gators. I don't have no Rolex. I don't have none of that nonsense, okay? So you just got to go through your home, just kind of total up every room. Even if you overestimate a little bit, that's good. And then you got to see, okay, how much personal property do I actually have? How much personal property protection do I really need? Some insurance companies are not going to let you go below 50%, okay? Some will, most won't, okay? But 75% is usually you don't need that, and usually you can pay, depending on how much your premium is, about $150 a year for that additional 25%. So you want to talk to your insurance company. You want to say, hey, y'all got me insured for more than 50% on coverage C, personal property. I want to lower that to 50%. And see how much that saves you, because sometimes it could save you a couple $100, or over $100 a year, and you can use that $100 for something. You're like, Rick, that's not a lot of money, but hey, you can use that $100 for something else. Okay. All right. So coverage D, loss of use. Okay. On a basic homeowners policy, again, that's going to cover you if something does happen to your home and you have to move out. Okay. It also covers you. Let's say your kitchen burns up. Okay. Because you can't cook and you burn up the kitchen. You can't use your kitchen for 3 months, okay? So for that 3 months, you can actually save all of your receipts, because you got to go out somewhere else and get something to eat, okay? You can save all of your receipts and you can file that under loss of use, but of course that's going to be subject to your deductible. So if you do have a high deductible, $1,000, $2,500, probably not going to be worth it, but that coverage is there for you. On a fire dwelling policy, and I was going to talk about that here a little bit later, but I'll kind of go into it right now. If you have a rental property, okay, coverage D is not going to be loss of use because you're not using the property. Someone else is using it. Okay, so, but what you do get with coverage D is you get fair rental value. Okay, so if the tenant can't live in the residence and they're not paying rent to you because of some type of loss that occurred on the property, then with coverage D, it's just going to pay you the rent. It's going to reimburse you up to whatever percentage the policy dictates. It's going to reimburse you the rent that the tenant was paying you with, coverage D. Okay. Again, coverage E, we already went over that. Personal liability. You are at the golf course. You swing golf club, slip out your hand, you bust somebody upside the head, they bleeding. Now they want to sue you. That's going to be covered under coverage E. One thing I want to point out there is you want to be careful because like it does cover dogs. So if your dog bites someone, but a lot of vicious dogs like Rottweilers, Pit Bulls, some of those dogs are excluded. So if you do have those types of dogs, you just want to look at your insurance policy just to make sure those things are not excluded. If they are, then you know if your Rottweiler, your Pit Bull bites somebody, you're going to have to pay for it, okay? Because the insurance company's not. All right, so coverage F is going to be medical payments to others. I always use the example. Usually it's a minimum of $1,000 per person, $25,000 for the entire incident. Okay, I always use the example. I make salsa, so I make pretty good salsa, but one day my salsa skills is off. And people come over, they be like, Rick, man, you was off with your salsa skills today, man. I don't feel good. So, they sick. You have a good get together. You off with your salsa on that day. Everybody's sick. So it's going to pay $1,000 per person. $25,000 is going to max out. Okay. So that's the basis of your insurance policy, man. Let me, okay. What about renters? Somebody had a question about renters. John, what question do you have? What do you mean? What do you mean about what about renters insurance? All right, so it looks like we don't have any questions on. John, what's your question, man, about renters? We might have a delay. Oh, okay. Well, you mean if you have a fire at your apartment? Okay. All right. So I think that's the question. If that's the question, if you have a fire at your apartment, okay, you have a renter's policy. It's gonna cover your personal property, okay, but it's also gonna cover you, like I said, with coverage D, because on a renter's policy, you don't have coverage A, you don't have coverage B, you have coverage C, D, and E, and F. Okay, so you have personal property, which is C. You have loss of use, which is D. You have you have personal liability, which is E, and then you have F, which is medical payments to others. So if you have a fire at your apartment building, okay, again, loss of use is going to cover you, and this is why you should have renters insurance, okay? And I'm not pushing insurance. I'm not an insurance guy, okay? I am an insurance guy, but I'm not like advocating for insurance. But this is the thing about insurance. Everybody has insurance. Everybody, okay? The insurance company has insurance, okay? They have reinsurance. So when they pay out a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, they have an insurance company that says, look, we had all these fires and we had to pay out, $200 million. They have insurance on that. They have reinsurance. They have an insurance company that will say, hey, you lost $200 million. Okay. We'll pay you $150 million. Well, you take $50 million of that. That's just on you. We'll cover you for the $150 million and we'll reimburse you for that. You see what I mean? Insurance companies have insurance. So if they have insurance, you gotta be insured. Okay. It's just, you just need to know what type of conversations you need to have with your agent. And you need to be able to look at your policy, have somebody that you trust, have somebody that knows what it is, and they can, give you pointers on, okay, you can take that off, you can do without that, you don't need that, and then that's gonna save you some money. I do it all the time. Okay, so let me see here. Let's see, what is a good policy to have? Okay, what is a VO? Okay, Yes, etc. Flip. Okay. Okay. Well, you got a question about flood. Okay. Well, you asked a lot of stuff in there, John. Okay. All right. So, flood insurance, bro. That is gonna be handled by the state. Okay. If insurance, most insurance policies don't cover flood. Okay, they don't cover flood. They don't cover earthquakes. I know, like if you're in California, you need an earthquake policy because California has earthquakes all the time. If you're in a place that has like kind of like subtle earthquakes that are not too bad, your insurance company may allow you to have what they call an endorsement on your policy that will cover some type of seismic or earthquake event, okay? Because it may register maybe like 2 or 3 on the scale, but California, because they have like catastrophic earthquakes that cause billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars in damage. The California Earthquake Authority handles their earthquake policies, okay? Then the National Flood Insurance Program actually in FEMA actually handles flood insurance, okay? So I hope that answers your question, John. But yeah, a flood, like if you have water damage inside your home, let's say you leave the tub running and the tub overflows, or you have some type of a burst pipe or something inside your home, that's water damage. Okay, you might have a flood inside, but that's not considered a flood. A flood is like a runoff of water. A mudslide, any type of moving earth is what they consider a flood, like mudslides and things like that, things that happen out in nature and not inside your home. So I hope that answers your question. All right, so let's continue. VO, I don't know what a VO is, man. I don't know if you typed that right, but if you want to kind of explain, I guess, elaborate on that question, I can answer that for you. It says flood insurance ensures that the flood building remains standing after the floods. Yeah, okay, Nelly. All right, so let's see. So we left off on, okay, so now you have another type of policy, of course, is a condominium policy. It's for condominiums. It's going to protect the inside walls of the home. And then one thing I want to point out about condo policies is there's a thing called loss assessment. This is not just for condominium policies. This is but you're going to probably deal with it more with a condo policy, okay? Loss assessment is like if you live in a homeowners association or if you live in a community and say something happens in the community. So this is why you got to make sure you know what your policy covers, okay? So look at your policy and see what it has for loss assessment. Sometimes it's like $5,000. Sometimes it's like $10,000. Okay, so but what that's going to cover is if you live in a homeowners association or if you live in some type of community and in this subdivision or in this community something happens, okay, and the people try to sue the community or they try to sue the HOA or they try to sue the subdivision, what the subdivision will do, because you live in this community, they will assess that loss to everybody that lives in that community. Okay, so if it's $250,000, what they do is they're gonna take that $250,000 and they're gonna chop it up and they're gonna say you owe $7,000, you owe $7,000, you owe $7,000. So if you don't have any loss assessment on your policy, you're gonna have to pay for that. So that's what that is. In case you didn't know. But if you break out your insurance policy and if you see something on there that you want to ask a question about, please let me know. Okay, yeah, so John say VO was a typo. Now you good, bro. All right. Okay, so another thing here really quick that I want to point out is let's talk a little bit about claims, okay? Now, I'm really going to focus really on like maybe auto claims. Homeowners claims is a little bit different. But I'm not going to really get into like homeowners claims too much, but I just want to point out something really quickly about auto claims because this happens a lot, okay? You're in a parking lot, you back up, someone else is backing up, and they hit you, okay? You call your insurance company and they look at it and say, look, both of y'all was backing out, it's 50-50. Or both of y'all was backing out, you're 30% liable and they're 70% liable. So one thing insurance companies will do, okay? Because they want to process these claims because they have so many, like they get, thousands of claims like a day. You see what I'm saying? So they have people processing these claims. They say, vehicle 1 backed into vehicle 2, vehicle 1 is at fault, blah, blah, blah. And so when they talk to you about it, you may think that you're not responsible for the damage or you're not at fault, okay? But because it seems relatively simple and they want to make sure that they get this claim processed really quickly, they're going to be like, look, man, it's 50-50. You 50% at fault, the other person's 50% at fault. That's what it is. That's the decision, okay? So sometimes you can dispute that, okay? Because what you have to understand is this claim is going to affect your rates. It is going to stay on your record with most insurance companies for 3 years. So 3 years you're paying higher premium because, some claims agent or adjuster just wanted to process your claim really quickly. I've talked to people, it happens all the time. They said, well, I was in the parking lot of the grocery store and, something happened. And I mean, well, not something happened, but I was in the parking lot and I actually backed up and they're sure that it was the other person's fault. I'm like, both of y'all was bagging out. I was like, this is probably what's going to happen. And then that person calls the insurance company and now they're in a big dispute about who's at fault. And I was like, see, these things are not, clear cut. You see what I'm saying? And then what your insurance company will do, they'll pay out real quick. They'll send you a check, boom, and then when you get that money, that's on your record. So you got to be careful about, accepting a quick payout, from your insurance company, especially if you feel like you're not at fault. Okay, so you can dispute it, you can fight it, as far as it can go. Sometimes what they'll do, they'll take it to arbitration. They'll let an independent arbitrator take a look at it, and they'll be like, okay, the insurance companies can't agree who's at fault. I'm gonna take a look at it myself. I'm not with this insurance company. I'm unbiased in my evaluation of this information, and then they'll make a decision, and that decision is final. Okay, but I just want to just point out, just don't allow your insurance company to be quick to judgment about a claim. Okay. All right. So also just talk real quick about discounts. Okay. And then another thing with auto insurance, just want to really quickly go over comprehensive coverage because a lot of people get confused by that. Comprehensive is just another way of saying broad coverage. It's just too many things to name. So they call it comprehensive because it covers everything other than a collision. And of course, things that you intentionally would do to your vehicle. Your buddy drinks too much and y'all out partying. He throws up inside your car. The car has vomit all over, it's stinky. That's comprehensive. That's a comprehensive loss. That will be covered under your insurance policy, okay? A squirrel crawls underneath, chews up your wiring. That's comprehensive. That's going to be covered under your insurance policy. So comprehensive just means that it's just too many things to name. Anything that's not a collision is going to be comprehensive. So I just want to break that down real quick. And then now with discounts, okay? You want to make sure you talk to your insurance company about discounts that are available because, again, we're trying to save people money, okay? There's some things like good student discounts. Of course, multiple vehicle discounts. And these are going to be discounts that are going to automatically be added to the policy. But you want to look over your policy declarations, which tells you everything about your policy, your coverages, what savings you're getting. So you want to look over that declarations. You want to make sure that your discounts are there because if you think your insurance company is going to automatically put a discount on your policy, you are wrong. Okay, they miss things all the time. I mean, I deal with people. They had a discount for 10 years and we didn't put it on there. You see what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you got to read your policy. Okay, you could be losing hundreds of dollars a year because you're thinking you're getting a discount for something and it's not even on your policy. Okay, so you want to look at your declarations. You want to make sure you see these things, and if you don't understand it, ask questions. Okay, I could look at your policy and be like, okay, that's the discount right there, because sometimes it's not clear, because the way the declarations is set up and the way that is documented on the declarations page, it's not clear to the average person if they're receiving this discount or if this discount is applying to their policy. So those are some of the things you want to take a look at. All right, so we don't have any questions on Facebook. All right, let me see. Let me see what else we got. All right, so what about, okay. Yeah, Lee Sean, you had a question earlier, man, about the police killing you. Yes, sir. If you got an all cause of death policy, even if you get killed by the police, you are covered, brother. All right, so that's why you want to make sure, but you want to look at your policy. My life insurance policy covers me if the police will kill me. I definitely pointed that out before I got the policy. So, but yeah, you wanna definitely make sure of that. All right, Shundell says, did you talk about car insurance for Lyft or Uber drivers yet? Okay, I did not, Shundell. Okay, so if you do have a question about insurance for Lyft or Uber, okay, Lyft and Uber. Now, because again, every insurance company they do things a little bit differently. Okay, but what I know about Lyft and Uber, sometimes it's very expensive to get coverage through your insurance carrier. So you want to check both. You want to check your insurance carrier, and then you want to check Uber and says, okay, if I let you insure me, Uber, or if I get insurance through your carrier, how much is it? Okay, you want to look at the total premium and things of that nature. So your insurance company is probably going to be kind of expensive usually if you want to cover it, because that's an additional liability that they're taking on for injuries to that person. Okay, because usually that's what it's going to cover, and then also they have to cover you because your vehicle is more at risk because you're driving more for damages. But then in addition to the damages to your vehicle, they're also having to cover bodily injury for your passengers, and that's usually where the major amount of the cost comes in at. But some insurance policies, if you don't tell them that you're doing Uber and Lyft, okay, you just show Uber your insurance, okay, and you're like, okay, I got insurance here it is, but there's an exclusion in your policy, because that's why I say you got to read it. It's not going to be on your declarations page. It's going to be in your policy booklet, or what they call a policy jacket. Okay. Usually these things are provided to you when you initiate the policy. And then sometimes if you have an insurance policy for a few years, you probably don't have that book anymore, or it probably has changed. So if you don't have a policy booklet, you want to make sure you contact your insurance company so that they can send you one. Or when you go by the office, be like, listen, can I get a policy book that details my auto policy, details my homeowners policy, so you can flip through it and know what's covered. Okay. Then also, while flipping through that booklet, you have to pay attention to the definitions. If you don't understand something, if you're confused, get an insurance agent to explain it to you, because I'll tell you, a lot of insurance agents they get confused by some of the verbiage in some of these documents themselves. So if it's hard for them to understand, then it's definitely going to be difficult for you to understand. But if you understand it, then that's great. But also, Shundell, to point out something that I was referring to with Lyft and Uber, they will have exclusions in that policy book saying if you're doing Lyft or if you're doing Uber, it won't say Lyft or Uber. It'll say if you are carrying passengers for hire or something like that. It's excluded. It's not covered. Okay, so you want to make sure that type of verbiage or language is not in your policy booklet, because if you don't let the insurance company know you're doing Uber or Lyft, and you get into an accident, and they'll be like, okay, you was like, I was doing Lyft or Uber, then they're not gonna cover it. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey man, I'm telling you, man, you gotta be careful though, bro. All right. So, read over your policy and know what it covers. So if you get into an accident, they come through for you. All right. So. Let me see. Anybody else got any other questions? Okay, so another thing is annual mileage. Okay. All right. So some states, what they do is they will charge you by how many miles you drive your car every year. So you're like, Rick, how do I know how many miles I'm driving? So calculate how many miles you drive to work every day. Multiply that by 52 and take out the time that you're off. So that will kind of give you an idea of how many miles you're driving, because what will happen is, and this is what I see a lot, I will have sales agents who will write a policy, and they'll set up a policy for someone, and they'll just put what the average is. Okay. You could be working from home. So if I put that you're driving 13,000 miles a year, which that's what the average is, 13 to 15,000 miles. So if I put that you're driving that much and you work from home and you only drive 2,000 miles a year, that's 11,000 miles that you're not driving, but you're paying for that 11,000 miles. So if you take off that 11,000 miles, your premium in most cases is going to decrease. Okay, so these are the type of conversations that I have with people often. But some states, it really doesn't matter how many miles you drive, or some insurance companies, because every insurance company has their little differences, okay, or their variations. But that's why you should know what your company does, especially if you've been with them for an extended period of time, because a lot of times they're not just going to offer or volunteer this information to you, okay? And that's why I say I'm in the business. I save people money all the time. I have these conversations often because I know you don't know the right questions to ask. So you don't know what to tell me to try to save money. So I prompt these or initiate these conversations with you so that you can give me the right information that I need to know to make sure that you're paying what you're supposed to pay. Because just like Eureka said, you know, insurance is big business, and you don't need to be giving them more money than what you're supposed to, because they don't need it. Okay. All right. So another thing is you want to pay attention to is these package deals. Okay. And what I mean by package deal is an insurance company will just offer you a policy that has preset or default coverages that they think you should have. Okay. And this may be coverages that is standard with their company, but it's not mandatory by the state. Okay, and I'll give you an example. So you can have an insurance company that'll say, you know what, if I sell you an auto policy, if I sell you package A, it's going to have $100,000 for bodily injury per person. It's going to have $300,000 per accident. It's going to have $100,000 on property damage. Okay, it's going to have uninsured and underinsured motorist bodily injury coverage at $100,000 per person, $300,000 per accident. It's going to have a $500 deductible for comprehensive and collision. It's going to have rental reimbursement at $30 a day, $900 for the entire amount of time that you have the rental vehicle. This is our standard policy. Boom, $150 a month. Okay, you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll take it. You see what I'm saying? But we're selling you $100,000 a year on bodily injury, but the state minimum is $15,000. And I'm not telling nobody to take the state minimum, but what I'm saying is, pay attention to your policy, know it. If you have any questions, please ask someone. What's going on? Who knew? 213. What's going on with you? We're just talking about insurance. You may have to go back and watch this video, man, because it's pretty long. Okay. All right. So with the package deals, okay, because insurance is corporate, and just like Eureka said, insurance is big business. It is. Okay. I'm at the point of like I could be a whistleblower, okay? And I'm not saying every insurance company is out to cheat you, but what I'm saying is with these package deals, what they'll do is they'll throw in coverages that you don't need, and they'll be like, oh, this is included. Nothing's included, okay? Almost everything, if I could say everything, and in some cases it's not always, but I'm gonna say 95% of the time, everything that's on your policy, you are paying a premium for. So if they say it's included, it's not included. You're paying for that. Okay. So some of these companies will give you this package policy, and you have coverages on there that you don't need, you don't use. You absolutely can save that money. Okay. You may be like, okay, it's $10 a year, Rick. Okay. But if it's $10 a year, you got to understand. Let's say the insurance company has, 2 million insureds, and they're hitting everybody for that $10 a year. Okay. How much money is that extra when you're not using that coverage? Okay. All right. That's $20 million. Okay. They just got extra. They may have a few people that may use it. So let's say they get 20 million. They only have to pay out 2 million in losses. That's $18 million profit. Okay. So these are some of the things you got to look out for. And if your insurance company says, oh, we can't take that off, or that's included, be like, no, it's not. Okay. And if you have a question about it, just, hey, just reach out to me. I can take a look at your policy, and I can let you know, yeah, you can remove that. If they're not trying to remove it, then they're trying to cheat you. Okay. All right. So let me go into the chat real quick. I mean, it's not entirely a scam, little warrior, man. We do need it, man. We do need it. All right, so let me see. Somebody said Geico is garbage. Oh no, man, I ain't getting into it. Okay, all right. So yeah, Lee Sean talking about the police, but okay. So I did address that. What's going on? All right. So it looks like no one else has any questions. Let me just see here. Let me see what else. Again, this is my closing thought. Okay. And I'm gonna get y'all up out of here again. Before I forget to mention, if you're just coming in, the Rapture, bdevolution.org. It's available now. Go ahead and download that thing. It's $9.99. The best $9.99 that you're going to spend this year. Okay, there's only a couple days left. All right, so last point I want to make before I get y'all up out of here, family, is if you have someone in your family, okay, who refuses to come away from the street life, okay, and this may sound a little harsh what I'm about to say, okay, but it's real talk, and I'm not being insensitive, but if you have a family member, I have them myself, who just refuse to change, who is married to the streets, okay, and they don't want to come out of that lifestyle, and we all know what comes with that type of lifestyle, okay, when the streets does what generally happens in the streets, okay, that expense is going to be on you, okay? You're going to have to find a way. You're going to have to come out of your pocket. Not only you're going to have to handle the grief, but you're going to have to come out of your pocket, and you have to deal with the loss of your loved one, okay? So you got to sit them down, and you got to say, look, bro, you don't want to come out of the streets. I need to get that policy on you, okay? So that when you leave from here, you can leave your kids some money behind. We can take care of your final arrangements, okay? Also with that is you got to pay the life insurance, okay? I know we want shoes. We want to go out to the club. We want to do all of these things, man. I'm paying my life insurance before I pay anything else, okay? I pay it. When you talk about, I pay it religiously, okay? Like I pay it. Before you pay some tithes and offerings, I'm paying my life insurance, because when I die, I want to make sure my son, when he doesn't have his father around anymore, okay, that's gonna be hard enough for him to deal with, because I take care of him. You know what I'm saying? I'm very vital to his life. Okay, so the absence of me not being around anymore is going to be enough for him to deal with. But you know what? When he got $500,000, $750,000, got a car, a house, and all of this stuff that he don't have to worry about, it's going to make losing me just a little bit easier. Okay, so, and that's what it's all about, man. We got to be building for the next generation. Okay, that Great Wall of China wasn't built in a day, wasn't built in a year, wasn't built in 10 years. It took hundreds of years to build that Great Wall. Build your Great Wall, family, brick by brick. You got to lay that first brick out there. So if you got to lay the first brick, if you got to break the cycle of ignorance, if you got to break the cycle of financial struggle in your family, let it start with you, okay? Stop buying the beer, the liquor, you could buy that. Pay your life insurance first. So, but if you going out spending your money at the club, cigarettes, cigars, beer, all of this stuff that we don't need, that's harming us, killing our bodies anyway, and you don't have life insurance for your children, then you really have to look yourself in the mirror, okay? I'm going to get up out of here. The only guys that we need is each other. The only guys that I need is you. bdevolution.org. Download the Rapture. Man, my brother will be on here tomorrow, probably around noontime, 1 o'clock, something like that. We're going to do the show earlier tomorrow. He's going to tell you what he needs to tell you, but I'm going to get out of here, family. Peace, evolve. Have that evolutionary mind. Y'all have a good night.